we're all going on a journey. We're just happy to do the right thing.
But not too pretty, huh?
And those only we're just smiling.
The speakers can take
The thing is, we don't just come back on the next
So as long as you hit those metrics,
you're successful. Come back on.
you get 2 votes.
My bad. We like kids don't just over here. Cindy, you don't have to be one side. Around the side of the dance. Come on this side. You did a good job. Come on this side. Ready? Yeah, sure. Wherever. Okay, ready?
All right, good morning, everyone. We're just thinking this is going to be loud. All right, good morning, everyone. Today, legislative Democrats are taking a decisive stand for the hardworking people of Michigan. Today, we are reintroducing the 9 bills that passed both legislative chambers in 2024. The 9 bills that were illegally withheld by Republican Speaker Matt Hall, forcing us into a long-fought legal battle that in the end affirmed what we knew all along. Speaker Hall's actions were unconstitutional. While we were met with illegal political gamesmanship and obstacle after obstacle trying to get this legislation across the finish line the first time around, we have not given up this fight and we are not backing down. These bills are quality public policy that will lower costs and improve lives for the dedicated, hardworking Michiganders who make our state so great. All of us up here are here to do the work of the people who have entrusted us to represent them with integrity and humility in the Capitol, the people whose hard work sustains our communities, from educators to first responders to nurses to corrections officers and everyone else in between. The people who deserve to trust that their elected officials will abide by the rule of law. And the people who for years have been advocating tirelessly for lower healthcare costs and better retirement options for millions of their fellow Michiganders. That's who we're fighting for you. Next, we'll hear from someone who has been on the front lines of this issue, not just for months, but years. Before I bring up Senator Hertel, I want to personally thank all of the bill sponsors in my caucus for their hard work on the 9 bills. To Senators Irwin, Kavanaugh, Cherry, Schenck, Green, and Santana, you have my gratitude. Please help me thank them. I'd also like to thank the House Dems who brought the fight to Speaker Hall's doorstep every single day, so thank you as well. Also joining us today are our brothers and sisters of the labor movement, our nurses, firefighters, teachers, and so many more. You are always in our, let me start that phrase again. You are always in our corner, and you better believe we are going to be in yours. And I know that there are some corrections officers here. Where are they? Where are you guys? Yes. I just want to give a special shout out to our corrections officers. You guys have some of the toughest jobs in the state, and we are very glad to be on your team. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Senator Hertel. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Leader Brinks. You have never wavered in this fight and have made sure that these bills that are important to the people of the state of Michigan have always been a priority for Senate Democrats. 2 years ago now, my colleagues and I began hearing from teachers, police officers, firefighters about serious challenges that they would face at the start of 2025 regarding the cost of their health insurance. That's because of a law passed under the Snyder administration during very different economic times. They were seeing the price of their health insurance spike upwards of $9,000 a year. We all know that people who choose a career in public service, they don't do it to get rich. They do it to serve our communities, and asking them to absorb thousands of additional dollars in healthcare costs is simply not right, especially at a time when the cost of everything else, from gas, groceries, childcare, and housing, is on the rise. Families cannot afford to pay more for the essential goods and services that they depend on. That's why my colleagues and I immediately got to work to find a solution. In the Senate, I introduced legislation to fix the outdated law by allowing public employers to contribute more toward the health insurance of our teachers, police officers, firefighters, and other public employees here in our state. Because at the end of the day, while we all know that these folks did not enter into public service simply for their paycheck, they still have every right to be able to put food on the table, fill up their gas tanks, go to a doctor when they are sick, and contribute to their kids' college, and put a few dollars away for their retirement. A colleague of mine from the other side of the Capitol in the Michigan House, Representative Mai Zong, also introduced this legislation, and House Bill 6058 is the version that ultimately ended up passing both chambers. But instead of delivering relief to thousands of public servants, House Speaker Matt Hall and House Republicans chose politics over people. Through needless delays, political games, they chose to violate our state constitution and illegally withhold this legislation from the governor for 18 months, ultimately leading to a veto. Their deliberate obstruction is now having real consequences for people across our state. Because of their political games, the very people who keep our communities safe, who educate our children, and respond when we call 911 are facing impossible choices. Do they stay in their profession and decide between affording their medication or their groceries, or do they leave their profession altogether to go somewhere else? Despite this setback, we are not giving up. We are continuing to fight for them. Today, I'm reintroducing this legislation, Senate Bill 1136, to ensure that at a time when too many Michiganders are struggling to make ends meet, we are helping to lower their costs. It's about making sure that teachers can stay in the classroom, firefighters and police officers can continue to protect our neighborhoods, and every public servant can afford health care that they have earned and that they deserve. The choice before us is very simple. People can continue playing political games, or we can actually solve a serious problem for the people who sent us here and who are counting on us to get the job done. I know which side that I am on, and I urge my colleagues in both chambers, as well as the governor, to come together and get this done without another second of delay. Our public servants have already waited too long. Thank you very much, and I will now turn it over to my colleague, Representative Zung.
Thank you, Senator Hertel. Thank you, Leader Brinks. Thank you all for being here today. I'm proud to announce the reintroduction of House Bill 6058 of 2024. For the past 2 years, I've worked to get this bill signed into law. After meeting with teachers and educators from the Macomb County Public School Districts, it was clear that if we did not pass a law to amend Public Act 152, that our teachers and Michigan workers would continue to face rising healthcare costs. We are now seeing these costs continuing to rise and this crisis playing out in real time. As legislators, we have the opportunity to bring immediate financial relief to the people who protect us, show up at our front doors, and care for our children and help them learn. They wake up every day to serve the state of Michigan. My bill would ensure that they have access to affordable health care so that they can take care of themselves and their families. At the very least, it is important for us to take care of the people who take care of us. Unfortunately, during the past 18 months, Speaker Matt Hall and House Republicans have prevented my bill and 8 others from becoming law. By playing political games with people's livelihoods, this eventually cost the Michigan taxpayers more than $300,000 in legal fees to defend the Speaker's unconstitutional actions. They were actively fighting to make sure that your healthcare costs continue to rise. Talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. This past year and a half, we've seen nothing but waste, fraud, and abuse by the Speaker at the expense of hardworking families. You should be disappointed and frustrated with the lack of progress from the Michigan House of Representatives. I know I am. Today, we are turning that frustration into action by reintroducing these bills. We're going to continue to show up every day to work to get these bills across the finish line and back to the governor's desk. These 9 bills are not just numbers. They represent health care, retirement security, and economic dignity for the men and women who literally stand in the line of fire, risking their lives and their health, protecting us, and are the first to show up at our doorsteps. Healthcare costs continue to rise. Retirement benefits have been drastically cut for decades, taken away from hardworking families. Michigan deserves better than what was taken from them by the very own government that is supposed to work for them. We all have a shared responsibility to make our state better. Speaker Hall has the opportunity to bring forth these bills for a vote. The ball is now in his court. Let the people of Michigan see who is on their side, fighting for them, addressing the healthcare affordability crisis. My Democratic colleagues and I remain committed to the people of Michigan and stand in solidarity with the workers, firefighters, corrections officers, and teachers and their families. I will continue to do everything in my power to get these bills signed into law. I'll never stop fighting for the economic justice for the people who put us in this position, who protect us, care for our children, and show up for us every day. To speak more on the specific impacts of this package and how necessary it is, I'd like to turn things over to Kara Ayat, who is a Michigan nurse. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kara Ayat, and I serve as president of the University of Michigan Professional Nurse Council, representing 7,500 registered nurses and nurse practitioners at Michigan Medicine. I am honored to be here today to thank the Senate and House Democrats for once again standing up for Michigan's working people. We are deeply grateful for their commitment to ensuring affordable health care for working families, especially those in public service, like the dedicated, hardworking nurses I represent. I stand here just days after our members ratified a new contract after months of bargaining. We are proud of what we won for our members, but we also recognize the impact these stalled bills had at the bargaining table. HB 6058 would have put policy in place that directly resulted in more money in my members' pockets by mitigating the burden of rising healthcare costs. For too long, healthcare costs have outpaced wages, putting the greatest burden on those who have devoted their lives to serving and caring for their communities. A life dedicated to the service of others should not mean a life of sacrificing affording basic needs like healthcare. Affordable healthcare is not a privilege. It is a basic right for every Michigander. However, standing up to political gamemanship and schemes aimed to hurt workers is nothing new to the Michigan labor movement, and we won't back down now. We will continue to organize, mobilize, and stand in solidarity with our fellow union members until these new bills are signed into law. We call on the Michigan legislature to finish what was started in 2024 and follow through on the promise that was made to the working people. It is time to stop the obstruction and start prioritizing the people who keep Michigan running. Pass these bills, protect our health care.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ron Bieber, president of the Michigan AFL-CIO, and I'm here today representing Michigan's workers. Thank you all for being here. For too long, the people of Michigan, the people who make Michigan run, the people who keep our children safe and educated, our communities healthy, and our state moving, have been left to shoulder the burden of rising costs and economic uncertainty alone. Michigan's labor movement is committed to doing whatever is necessary to pass the bills reintroduced today by our friends in the House and Senate. These aren't just pieces of legislation, these are lifelines for working families. For too long, we've seen a gap between the work Michiganders do and the security they deserve. These bills address that gap head on. First, we have to talk about healthcare. Our nurses, our teachers, and our first responders are on the front lines every single day. They care for us, and it's well past time we care for them. By lowering healthcare costs, we ensure that being an essential worker doesn't mean sacrificing your own family's financial stability. Second, we have to protect the dignity of retirement. Our public safety professionals, including our corrections officers, our DNR officers, and our motor carrier officers, dedicate their entire careers to protecting Michigan. They shouldn't have to wonder if their pensions and retirement security are safe. These bills ensure that a lifetime of service is met with the security they were promised. And finally, we have to protect the paycheck. We have seen too many families harassed by aggressive debt collectors looking to seize wages and tax credits. This is a predatory practice that targets our most vulnerable. These bills draw a line in the sand and say, not in Michigan, we aren't having this. I want to close by thanking the amazing, and I mean amazing, Michigan House and Senate Democrats Thank you so much for listening to working people. Thank you for hearing our struggles. And thank you for having the will and courage to bring these critical protections back to the table and having workers' backs. You are continuing your ongoing fight for the dignity of every worker in this state by giving them the opportunity to have a fair shot at a chance to have a decent life. But reintroducing these bills is only the first step. We cannot afford more delays. We cannot allow these protections to sit on a desk while families struggle to pay for medicine, rent, and groceries. The Michigan labor movement is watching, and we are urging the quick passage of these bills, and most importantly, we're calling on Speaker Matt Hall to transmit them once passed and for Governor Whitmer to sign them into law without further delay. Working people are ready to win. We have the numbers, we have the momentum, and we have the moral high ground. Let's get these bills passed and let's get these protections signed into law. Thank you, and now it is my extreme pleasure to introduce the outstanding Democratic House Minority Leader, Ranjiv Puri.
Thank you, Ron, for those kind words. Thank you, Kara, for being here today. I want to start by thanking Leader Brinks for your partnership the last 2 years. This has not been an easy journey. Thank you to Senator Hertel and Rep. Song for your remarks today. And I also want to acknowledge the chief sponsors from the House last term, Reps. Menser, both Reps. Tyrone and Brenda Carter, Rep. O'Neill, Rep. Hope, Rep. Steckloff, and Rep. Snyder, to all the other co-sponsors, and of course, all my colleagues that are standing with us today. I am the House Democratic Leader in the state of Michigan. My name is Ranjiv Puri. I represent the Canton area in the State House. Now, there isn't much more I can say about this specific package or the journey that we have been on here to get here today that hasn't really already been said. But just like there isn't really more I can say about affordability in this moment, about how families in Michigan are being squeezed in every direction that you probably already even heard a dozen or so times from everyone. But the difference between lip service and action is right here. We are standing here. The blue blacks are floating around. We're getting co-sponsors ready. We mean action. We mean business, and we want to get this done. The political climate right now is changing. More people than ever don't care about party. More people don't care about empty talking points. They don't even care about agreeing with politicians and elected officials on every single issue. They're tired, they're frustrated, and they just want somebody to stand up and actually get something done. People are hurting. They are all being asked right now to do more with a lot less, while people at the top continue to rake in obscene amounts of wealth. The federal government can magically spend billions of dollars of our tax money on yet another foreign war that no one asked for. Our president and his family can add more zeros to their net worth, yet when Michigan needs federal dollars to support working families, to support critical programs, to support critical services, we get told, oops, that money's all gone. And so House Democrats, Lansing Democrats are standing up here to say, hell no, we're not taking that. We're going to fight back. We're going to fight for you. We are going to fight for your health care. We're going to fight for your pocketbook. We're going to fight for your neighborhood. We're going to fight for our nurses, our teachers, our firefighters, our public safety, our corrections officers. We're going to fight for our families and our communities. And my commitment to you is that we are not going to give up on that fight ever. And whether it is this year by holding Republicans' feet to the fire in the House, or whether it is next year when I am Speaker of the House, my team has direct control over what does or does not get passed. But I promise you, we are going to do this again and again. We are going to introduce these bills as many times as we need to, because it doesn't matter if it's every chamber, every session, every governor, until this gets done. And so to close things out, I want to bring back my friend, Leader Brinks, who again, without your partnership, I'm not sure where these 2 years would have been. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Leader Puri, and thank you for your partnership in this fight and so many others. Before we take questions from the press, I want to close with this message. A legal battle and a veto may have delayed this legislation's passage, but it did not diminish its value or our commitment to getting it done. So no matter what hurdles may lie ahead of us, we will not abandon the people that we are here to serve. We will not stop fighting for the public employees who serve our state with diligence and stewardship, and we will not back down until these bills become law, as they should have long ago. So thank you, and we can open it up for questions.
Yeah, I've got a question for Leader Forey. Do you think there needs to be more of a look-see or an investigation of why those 9 bills never made it to the governor's desk before New Year's Day?
Sure. I'm not sure what a look-see could look like, sure. The reality is that there's a lot of speculation of what happened. I'm not sure how that played out, but our attention at this point is forward-looking. We want to partner with House Republicans to get this done in good faith right now, and if not, then in November we'll remove them from the occasion and get it done ourselves.
But if you happen to be in this position or in the speaker's position next year, do you see yourself in a position where you would look into an investigation into what happened with these bills, or would it all just be forward focused at that point?
Yeah, I mean, if I find myself as the Speaker of the House, I will be doing whatever I can to making sure that there's a process in place in which things are transparent and get done the way that they're supposed to. And so, yeah, we are very much forward looking at this point. I mean, we're 2 years out. I don't know how much we have to gain from that, other than just making sure that when we are in a Democratic trifecta next year, that we get these 9 bills done, and then ensure that everything that we do get done in those 2 years gets to the governor's desk.
Will you appoint Rich Brown as clerk?
I'm not going to talk about individual personal decisions. I can tell you that there is a lot of structural change that happens when you do transition from minority to majority. I look forward to having that's a good problem to have. And so, yes, I do see that there's going to be some change in the infrastructure of how things are set up, but we're not going to be discussing individual personnel.
Do you think that it's disingenuous that Governor Whitmer is asking Democrats to reintroduce these bills when it's going to be difficult for you to pass this through a Republican House? They clearly don't want these bills.
That's certainly a question you can talk to the governor about. We're not going to speculate about her motivations or her thoughts on this matter. She has said she is interested in seeing those bills on her desk again, and we intend to get them there with all the power that we have to do so.
This goes to either Leader Curry or Leader Briggs. I mean, there was some anger within your caucuses after the veto at both House Republicans and at the governor. What are your conversations with the governor like? And are you confident that when these bills, if they do get to her desk, she'll sign them? And do you understand the rationale behind her veto? Do you agree with it?
So I'll take the last part first. We believe that there were remedies for the concerns that were raised in the veto letters. We have made that clear to her, as well as our thoughts about this whole process. So we've had that conversation. At this point, she is requesting those bills to come to her desk. And as we are introducing them today, we will make the necessary changes so that they meet the muster. But we believe that they merit her signature. But that ultimately, as we all know, is a decision that she must make.
And do you have any conversations with House Republicans at this time? I mean, are they going to play ball with us?
I have not had any conversations with the House Republicans on this, but the offer stands that we are willing to work in good faith to get this done. I'm skeptical if that's really going to happen in this year, but the alternative to that is making sure that they don't need to be a part of the equation in 2027.
Were Speaker Tate or Governor Whitmer invited to this press conference?
I'm not sure about the governor, but all members of our caucus were invited to this press conference.
I'd like to ask a question to Senator Camilleri. How big of a priority are these bills to you, assuming you become the leader of the Senate next year?
Very big priority. We have a lot of things that are on our priority agenda for incoming Senate Democrats and our retained majority that we will be expanding this November. The truth of the matter is, when we talk about affordability, These bills, like you heard today, are going to be a core component of how we address the cost of living for thousands of workers here in Michigan. And so when we are talking to voters across the state, affordability is the number one thing that comes up. This is a core tenet of addressing some of those challenges, but it won't be the only thing.
Do you think it's fair to be, in your messaging, putting up the whole onus of these bills not getting signed on Speaker Hall and House Republicans when it was Governor Whitmer's veto that did eventually kill the initial versions of these bills? You said yourself that there were remedies to some concerns about it. I guess, can you just talk a bit about the rationale behind that?
I certainly think that Speaker Hall had the power to put these bills on the governor's desk for 18 months. It would have eliminated some of the things that were cited as concerns in the veto letter. So yeah, he does bear responsibility. But the thing that we did learn and that we did achieve through this process was winning the lawsuit, so that it is very clear that no speaker or leader of a chamber can unconstitutionally withhold bills that were passed by both chambers that deserve the consideration of the governor. And so while we took legal action against the speaker because he was the one with the power to fix the problem that was created in this term 18 months ago.
Would you be interested in codifying that ruling in law? I mean, precedent is only precedent as long as the High Court thinks it is. So would you put it in the Constitution? Would you put it in state law that no matter if a piece of legislation is passed on December 31st or whatever, that it gets to the governor's desk if both chambers pass it?
So what the courts have decided is that the Constitution stands and that it is in the Constitution. As to whether or not we need to take further action to be extra clear, that's certainly something we could consider. But at this point, the ruling is very clear. 3 courts have decided that they agree with us that the Constitution should be interpreted the way that we had to sue in order to get Speaker Hall to understand.
We've got time for a few more. Let's set a date.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you could address, it seems like the governor's concerns with these bills is fiscal impact and how it would be paid for. I'm just wondering if you could explain how it would be paid for in the state budget or in local school districts, local governments.
We certainly are no strangers to making tough decisions about budget items and weighing the merits of how we pay for the things that we are obligated to pay for as a state. I have every confidence that we will be able to make those decisions with the information we have in any given year for a budget year. Sometimes we have more stresses than others, but if we do the right thing, we will figure out a way to solve that problem.
We'll do 2 more. Do you think the money out of politics ballot proposal should go to the voters, or do you think the legislature should adopt it?
That's certainly a question that we'll be evaluating at this point. There are, 3 different avenues for that, as I'm sure that you've all laid out in numerous articles, but we'll evaluate that as a legislature, and we'll see what the opinion is of the people sitting in the 2 chambers, and we'll go from there.
Do you have 40 days to do that?
Yes.
Did you have any personal thoughts on that proposal?
So I think we can all agree, I think I speak for everybody up here, that we have concerns about dark money in politics and the impact that that has. So whether this is the remedy and whether we understand all of the impacts of this is the question that we will work through as a caucus, as a chamber, and as a legislature, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. We'll now open up for one-on-ones. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.